Just a couple technical difficulties there. As I was saying, welcome to Daytona. You heard the rest of it. Just a little bit of technical difficulty, should be easily avoided. But here we are at Daytona Beach, Florida for the 2024 Daytona 500. Coming up next, we'll do a race preview, a season preview, a rookie preview, and the drivers to watch for the 2024 Daytona 500. All of that's coming up. If you look to the left of your screen, you'll see the map and descriptions of Daytona International Speedway. It's a 2.5 mile tri-oval, 31 degrees of banking in the turns, 18 degrees of banking on the tri-oval. The distance from turn 4 to turn 1 is 3,800 feet. The distance from turn 2 to turn 3 is 3,000 feet. Both of those are banked at 3 degrees, and in the tri-oval, the middle of the front stretch is banked at 18 degrees. The drivers to watch for: Chase Briscoe with a good little practice and qualifying session. Nice weekend so far. Practicing 8th, qualifying 11th in the last season of Stewart-Haas race. And then the true guy to beat for this weekend. He swept practice and qualifying, going off on the pole, fastest in practice. Driving for Hendrick Motorsports. He's going to be fast everywhere we go this year. William Byron, the NASCAR leader in wins last season, going off on the pole in the Daytona 500. Be able to see if he can get it done at Daytona for Hendrick's first Daytona 500 in a couple good chunk of years here. Now, starting in the number 4, he made a solid name for himself after getting a couple good runs for the guy actually in front of him right now, Chase Elliott. And then it's Josh Berry driving the 4, ran a couple cup races last year, finished second at Richmond, filling in for Elliott during the snowboarding injury part of the season. And then he was also a very solid Xfinity driver last year. He's in a Stewart-Haas car, good short track racer. We'll see what he can do this year with Stewart-Haas. And then our first of 2 rookies driving for Spire Motorsports. We'll go off 28th in today's race. Zane Smith in the 71. Very experienced truck driver. Some say they pulled him up a little early. He has ran a couple cup races, has some decent runs under his belt, and probably was the top driver in the truck series for And then our second of the 2 Spire drivers and our last rookie of our rookie preview, Carson Hocevar, a top 10 qualifying run in his first start as a full-time NASCAR driver. Very impressive stuff from him this weekend. We'll see if he can back that up with a good, solid run for Spire Motorsports. Now, the cars are ready in the pits. It's time to fire up the engines for the 2024 Daytona 500. We're going to take a look at the full starting grid for the 2024 Daytona 500. In row number 1 is William Byron and Tyler Reddick. Row number 2, Hendrick cars always qualify well here. It's Alex Bowman and Ryan Blaney. Row 3 is Martin Truex Jr. and Chase Elliott. Row 4, going off in 8th, is Spire rookie Carson Hocevar, and 7th is Ross Chastain. Row number 5 is Chris Buescher, and rounding out the top 10 is Joey Logano. Behind them, one of our drivers to watch for, Chase Briscoe, goes off 11th with Daniel Suarez in 12th. 13th is Michael McDowell, and 14th is the Lars Hendrick qualifying driver of Kyle Larson. Behind them in row number 8, 15th is Denny Hamlin, 16th is Brad Keselowski. In row number 9, 17th is Kyle Busch, 18th is Ty Gibbs, and rounding out the top 20 in row 10 is Corey LaJoie and Christopher Bell. In row number 11 is Bubba Wallace and Ricky Stenhouse. 12, Noah Gragson and Todd Gilliland. 13th, Shane Van Gisbergen, first full-time NASCAR Cup Series season, driving for Kaulig Racing, and next to his Kaulig teammate of Daniel Hemrick. Behind them is Eric Jones, and Zane Smith goes off in 28th. Row 15, Ryan Preece, and a Daytona 500 winner from a few years ago, Austin Dillon. Going off 31st is Jimmy Johnson, or 32nd, 31st, John Hunter Nemechek. 33rd is Justin Haley, 34th, Kaz Gralla, 35th, Josh Berry, 36th, Austin Cindric, 37th is BJ McLeod, 38th, Harrison Burton, and going off in 39th is Justin Haley. All the cars are ready to get going. "39 engines fire up for the first time of 36 this season. And for the first time this year, all 39 engines are humming as the pace car leads William Byron, Tyler Reddick, and the other 37 cars off pit road. As they get ready to do battle for 30 laps in the 2024 Daytona 500. This is going to be some of the most intense 70 miles of racing of the NASCAR season. It's one of the most brutal, most focus-inducing races on the schedule. You're racing inches apart for the entire day. 30 laps of that, most of us probably couldn't even make it one. But these guys prove why NASCAR is one of the hardest sports to learn. It's not just driving in circles. You're 6 inches apart going 200 miles an hour with 35 of the best drivers in the world. Some of these crashes will be very intense, especially at tracks like this, if you're hitting a wall going at speeds of up to 150 miles an hour. These are some of the toughest athletes we will know. It's the NASCAR Cup Series, the 2024 Daytona 500, and we are about to witness some of the best 30 laps of racing on the circuit. 39 cars are all ready to go here at Daytona. William Byron and Tyler Reddick lead the field into turns 3 and 4 behind the pace car. All 39 of them are ready. It's going to be the first of 36 times I'm going to say this season. The pace car leads the field off of turn number 4. I get to say this 36 times this year. Here comes the first. The pace car pulls down pit road, and for the first time this year, I can say the NASCAR Cup Series is officially racing. The Daytona 500 is underway as the whole field of 39 strong crosses the start-finish line. Into turns 1 and 2 they go for the first time. You're going to see a lot of 3-wide racing, especially at Daytona. Look at Chase Elliott up the inside. He does not have much help from Chris Buescher. Meanwhile, the leaders, William Byron and Tyler Reddick, still side by side as they go down the back straightaway for the first time today. Chase Elliott with a big run up the bottom. He's trying to take him 3 wide from the lead. He started back in that 5th position. Now he does have help from Chris Buescher. As you can see the field dipping and darting around all over the place. J.J. Yaley starts to fall off the pace a little bit. And Hendrick is 3 out of the top 5 cars. Ryan Blaney way up the track. Here comes a little bit of a freight train as they come off turns 3 and 4 for the first time of the day. And we are officially going to be 1 lap down in the 2024 NASCAR season. Who gets to say they led the first lap of the season? It's going to go to William Byron with help from his Hendrick teammate of Chase Elliott. Fastest lap of the season so far goes to BJ McLeod, who's isn't even up a spot yet, but you do get some really fast laps back in mid-pack. Joey Logano in a tough spot there in the middle as William Byron and Chase Elliott pushing their way along. Be nice if they can get Alex Bowman and Kyle Larson up behind them, get a little Hendrick train going right now. But here comes the bottom line forming. Early in the race, it's important to make these spots up, and you can see how aggressive they're going. We see 3 and 4 wide at Talladega, not as common here. It's not as wide. Still very wide, but they're starting to go 2 by 2. Some cars trying to get a third line going as they're coming to lap number 3 as J.J. Yaley has officially pretty much lost the draft. Here comes Ross Chastain up the bottom. Alex Bowman gets shuffled up the track. Chris Buescher slides up there. He's going to get a nice run. Chase Elliott peeks up the inside. He pulls back into line as now there's 3 lanes of racing starting to form. Chris Buescher gets shuffled into the middle. Very tight back there. William Byron to the lead. He's able to clear Tyler Reddick. Decides to run on that bottom. Now Chase Elliott is there. Here comes that bottom lane. Daniel Suarez has help from Chase Briscoe on the bottom, and then Michael McDowell, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, and Brad Keselowski behind him. And then you see Todd Gilliland and Noah Gragson tandem drafting in those 2 Fords. That's what you need to do, is find your manufacturers and stick together. But at the end of the race, teammates and manufacturers, those deals are off. Byron and Reddick have been side by side the entire day. Here comes a nice run from Chris Buescher. Up top, Daniel Suarez on the bottom, and Ross Chastain is stuck in the middle. Do another fastest lap update. It's Austin Cindric. Started in 35th up to 32nd. Josh Berry up to 30th. Carson Hocevar has dropped a couple spots back to 14th, but his other rookie, Zane Smith, running around where he started back in 29th. The top 10 has been very similar the entire day. You see J.J. Yaley already 5 seconds off the lead coming on 6. Chase Elliott somehow got under William Byron. As I was going through all of this, Tyler Reddick doesn't have much help on the top. They're 3 wide for the lead at Daytona, coming to lap 5 out of 30. Ridiculously tight racing. Every single car in the top 20 is within a second of the lead. You have to go back to 20. You have to go back to 31st to be outside of a second from the lead right now. If they're going to wreck in this race, this is the time it's going to happen. Lots of 3 wide racing, especially up towards the front, as Daniel Suarez has joined the chat, pushing Chase Elliott down the back straightaway. 3 wide for the lead at Daytona. They're 3 wide behind them. 3 by 3, then 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 by 3, and then more 2 by 2, some 3s. As you can just see, this swarm of cars traveling at 190 miles an hour around turns 3 and 4 across the stripe. William Byron's led them all. That's going to continue for this one, but he is under a lot of pressure from Chase Elliott, Tyler Reddick, Ross Chastain, and Chris Buescher through the rest of the top 5. In the 1 and 2. Byron still has the lead. Chase Elliott now there. Tyler Reddick is gone. William Byron is going to go up in front of Reddick, so Reddick officially is not side by side for the lead the first time today. Chase Elliott loses some help. Here comes Chastain trying to go squeeze through the middle. That's not going to be there. Off of 3 and 4 once again. Elliott and Chastain now 3 wide for the lead again. Chastain almost got into Elliott there. They're still 3 wide for the lead, and then it's 2 by 2 behind them. Byron is still continuing to lead every single lap. That looks like it could change any minute here, though, as Chase Elliott and Ross Chastain are dead even with him. Elliott to the lead right now by a nose, then Chastain, then Byron, Tyler Reddick back into the party, and this is going to be a problem for William Byron if no one moves up to go with him. Chastain slides up in front of him. William Byron's reign of terror at the front of the field for the first 6 laps of this Daytona 500 are over. It's now Elliott and Chastain side by side for the lead. Michael McDowell, he's crawled his way into the top 10. Don't look out for Chase Briscoe. There's a lot of Fords sneaking their way up front, but it is mostly Chevys up front still. Across the tri-oval, Ross Chastain is the first guy not named William Byron to lead a lap in today's race. J.J. Yealy all over 10 seconds behind the lead pack. Ty Gibbs pretty far up the track. Elliott and Chastain still lead as they come down the back straightaway. William Byron has fallen in the line behind Chastain. He's in third next to William Byron and then Chase Briscoe, one of those drivers to watch for. Started in 11th. He's worked his way up to the back end of that top 5. Meanwhile, Tyler Reddick is starting to drop back a little bit, but so is William Byron. Here comes Chris Buescher up to Byron's back bumper. Chastain's almost into the wall. It's now Elliott and Suarez as Trackhouse. What a run for them at the Daytona 500. Elliott leads a lap, and that was the first time the leader has been clear pretty much the entire day. Elliott clears Chastain. Chase Elliott, in his first full-time NASCAR start, led in the Daytona 500, ran out of gas on the last lap, or ran out of gas at some point, and Chris Busch won. I almost said Chris Buescher. We're about a third of the way through today's race. Elliott and Chastain almost kind of tandem drafting there. It has settled down at the front of the field as you see Chastain moves to the bottom of Elliott. Here comes William Byron. Top 7 or 8 cars have kind of calmed down, but the rest of the field is doing nothing except trying to fight their way to the front. I say it calms down. Here comes William Byron. We're once again 3 wide for the lead at Daytona. Elliott, Chastain, Byron, Suarez, and Buescher, both Trackhouse cars in the top 5 at Daytona. What a run for them. 300 cars in the top 10, a Penske car, a front row car, a RFK car, 12311 car, and one Stewart-Haas car. Makes up the top 10 as of now, but Ryan Blaney is moving up through the field. Denny Hamlin's there. Kyle Busch isn't far out. One thing we need to mention, Kyle Larson. He's usually good everywhere. He started 14th. He's actually behind where he started, almost out of the top 20. You see Kaz Grala starts to fall off the pace ever so slightly. So we're a third of the way through the Daytona 500. Chase Elliott starts to fall back a little bit. As we're going to do every day, a third of the way through the race, we're going to go on board for a lap with the car inside the top 10. Right now, we're going to go on board with the car in the thick of this racing at the front. We're going to go on board with Chase Elliott. Caution flag is out at Daytona. Hold your horses. The yellow flag is in the air, and Shane Van Gisbergen's car is totaled. In his first super speedway race in the NASCAR Cup Series, that is heavy damage. Take a look at what happened here. SVG there in the middle. They went 4 wide. He got into Hocevar. Just kind of moved him up the track just enough to get into Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs goes around. Hard hit for all 3 of those guys. And everyone does a good job getting through. And yeah. So good job by the field getting around everyone there. It's a 3-car accident here at Daytona. Take another look at it. Oh yeah, he just got moved up. Just moved up into him. Almost took out Kyle Larson. A little bit of contact for Daniel Hemrick, but no damage, and that's a good job by the rest of the field to get around it. We'll go on board with Ryan Preece for this one. So hard to see when wrecks happen here just because of all the cars going on in front of you. You see the smoke there. Good job to get off the gas. Do one more on board with Daniel Hemrick, who got clipped by Hocevar. Who was right in front of all of this, or right behind it. Yeah, a little bit of contact there. We'll do one more on board with SVG. Chastain just got under him. 4 wide, nowhere for SVG to go. He just gets into him. Ty Gibbs, just an innocent bystander in this one. I don't know where all the damage to SVG's car came from, though. That wasn't too severe of a hit. I don't know where that damage on the right side came from. He might have had that already. No, there's no damage there. So, an incident at Daytona on lap 11 out of 30. SVG, Carson Hocevar, the rookie, and then Ty Gibbs in his sophomore season get into each other in the middle of turns 1 and 2. And the pits were open. And William Byron is second to Ross Chastain. And then Daniel Suarez is third. Buescher comes off 4th. Briscoe comes off 5th. Hamlin 6th. Gains a couple spots. Reddick gains a couple spots. Elliott loses a couple spots. Todd Gilliland must have taken fuel only. Kyle Busch up a couple spots. So is Truex. Cindric up multiple spots. He probably did fuel only. Gregson, Brad, Bowman, Blaney loses a bunch. Barry up a couple spots. As Corey LaJoie and Zane Smith dropping back to their spots. I forgot to turn on double file restart, so that will be coming next week, but Daytona's already chaotic enough without him. Ty Gibbs, even with the damage, going to continue to run, and Shane Van Gisbergen is sitting in the pits. See if they can repair that damage. They are going to start do single file restarts just for this race because stupid me forgot to turn them on. But Todd Gilliland, don't count that guy out. Front row is good on super speedway races, and this man's in the top 10. Gained over 10 spots on pit road. So he's up to 9th. Kyle Busch sneaks in the top 10. Denny Hamlin, 3-time winner. He's good. Reddick, that could be an interesting combination there, as that's the owner-driver. That's the driver of the team that Denny Hamlin co-owns. We got 2 Fords behind each other. Right now, it's a very Very stacked top 10 at the least. Both Trackhouse cars in the top three. Top three cars are Chevys, so Trackhouse could easily be in one of I think Trackhouse is in the best position to snag a win out of all the teams here. 200 cars in the top 10, one RFK car, one Stuart Haas car, a 2311 car, a Joe Gibbs car, one RCR car, and one Front Row Motorsports car. We're going to restart on lap 16 out of 30. Pace car lights are off. Into turns 3 and 4. Pace car is going to pull down pit road. And we're halfway through the Daytona 500. SVG back on track somehow. He is 2 laps down though. Green flag is back in the air. Ross Chastain leads them to green. They are a little bit spaced out because of the single file. I will change that. So right now they're kind of spaced out due to the single file restart, but the drafting is going to bunch them right back up. I don't know why they started so far spaced out. It must just be, there must be a slow car off the pace somewhere. Because that's a ridiculous amount of spacing for just going back green. But the racing up front, what interesting, and Ross Chastain has broken away from the pack very slightly, but he doesn't have anyone to draft off of, so that trend's not going to continue. Back onto the trial for the first time in this restart at full pace. Ross Chastain with the lead, but don't count out Tyler Reddick, Chris Buescher, and Chase Elliott behind them. William Byron lost 3 spots on that opening lap. Here comes Chase Briscoe. Denny Hamlin's in the top 10. Martin Truex, a new name up there. Alex Bowman's up there. Noah Gragson. This is going to be a very tight leaderboard. And a lot of big names at the top outside of Todd Gilliland as my dog is vomiting in the background. Now you see the packs start to bundle up. They broke up into 2 packs. That is semi-realistic for Daytona. And got to give a lot of credit to Josh Berry. He started back in 34, 36, or somewhere in the back. But him and Austin Cindric started in the 30s. They're both up roughly 20 spots from the start of the race. Kyle Larson dropped 6. John Hunter Nemechek's up double-digit spots. And then a couple guys that are struggling. Carson Hocevar started in 8th, got caught up in that wreck when he was back in 20th. And then Zane Smith started 28th. He's in 36th. Right now, Chase Elliott leads. 12 and a half laps to go at Daytona. We're over halfway done. Into turns 3 and 4. Elliott has the lead, followed by Todd Gilliland. I told you these front row cars, very good at super speedways. I know Michael McDowell's nowhere to be found, but his teammate Todd Gilliland is running in the top 3. Michael McDowell is currently having a 29th place day. It's very hard to have consistent good days at Daytona because there's so much staying out of trouble, good pitch strategy, good drafting. There is a very severe amount of talent involved in this, but this is one of those races where you definitely circle as a pinch of luck needed to win. You need to stay out of trouble. Your pit crew needs to be perfect the entire day, and like right in a situation like this, if Todd Gilliland moves a foot, he's causing a multiple car wreck. So you do need the skill to hold a straight wheel, and if you have the skill, it comes down to, do I get the right guys drafting me? Do I get the right pushes? Do I get the right pit stops? Is my timing on moves right? Because if you time your move wrong and you lose that draft, it hurts you. Right now, the top running rookie is Josh Berry. And right now, he's running inside the top 15 with a chance to sneak into the top 10. William Byron, he's led a good chunk of the start of this one, but starting to struggle. And then a career day for BJ McLeod, starting in 37th up to 19th. And this is what also comes with Daytona, is the strategy. You need the strategy, you need the wheel skills, you need the drafting ability, then you need a pinch of luck. So much goes into winning this race. As we're now 2/3 of the way done at Daytona. Chase Elliott leads over Tyler Reddick, Todd Gilliland, Martin Truex, Ross Chastain, Chase Briscoe, and Noah Gragson. Now some Fords start to move into the top 10. You got Gilliland up there. You got Briscoe, Gregson, Briscoe, Buescher, Blaney, Gilliland. 5 out of the top 10 cars are Fords. There's 3 Chevys and 2 Toyotas. Actually, there's 1 Toyota. There's 3 Chevys, 5 Fords. And yeah, there is 2 Toyotas. Because the top 3, Chase Elliott is a Chevy, and then the 2 Toyotas are in second and third. Cars start to make moves on the bottom. It's go time. There's within 10 laps to go. 9 laps to go at Daytona. It's go time. Martin Truex and Tyler Reddick, they were drafting each other, but they know they're not going to get by Chase Elliott riding along behind them. Josh Berry, new name in the top 10. Very impressive Super Speedway NASCAR Cup Series debut for him. Chase Briscoe starts a little movement on the bottom. You see Chastain's going to go with them. Blaney tries to go with them. And Kyle Larson and Joey Logano. Names we haven't said. That's what they're good at. They sit there. They know it's go time. Bam, here they come. You got another guy. Kyle Busch is up there. We were talking about Josh Berry. So these guys, they will pop out of nowhere at the end of these things. Right now it's Elliott, Truex, Reddick, Briscoe. The top 4 cars. Rounding out the top 5 is Ross Chastain, but Todd Gilliland is there as well. Right now, all Chase Elliott needs to do is hold off those guys for about 4 or 5 more minutes as there's 8 laps to go. It's going to be hard to hold off the swarm of cars behind them. They did get 1 pit stop just before the halfway mark. I would assume they're good on fuel, but if they're going to pit, they're not going to pit with 2 laps to go. So if there is pit stops coming, they're going to be in the next couple laps here. It was a 1-stop race, depending on when they decided to pit. That caution was the best time to do it. Came roughly halfway through the race, probably when guys would have pitted in the first place. And that's when the different strategy options played. That's how they got Josh Berry up here. That's how they got Logano up here. Kyle Larson, a new car in the top 10. Todd Gilliland, top 5. Here comes Josh Berry up the middle. There's a lot of guys that haven't been running up front for all this entire day that have a chance now. One of the big factors is going to be they're going to catch Shane Van Gisbergen in the next lap or so, who is well off the pace. He's only going 170 miles an hour, and the leaders are going 191. SVG's off turn number 4. The leaders are off turn number 4. They're going to catch them in turns 1 and 2. Across the stripe, 6 laps to go. What does SVG do? This is going to make it interesting. SVG goes high, Elliott goes low. Truex gets stuck behind him, and now everyone on the bottom is going to have a chance at this. But this is going to make it, oh man, Josh Berry, Gilliland, guys that would have been exciting to see win. Just nothing SVG can do at Daytona. And this is going to kill Josh Berry, Todd Gilliland, Kyle Larson, all of their chances. And now it turns it down into just like a 6-man race. As Truex, Buescher, and Kyle Busch are behind him. And we all love a good Daytona race. You see a couple more guys get by in the bottom. We'll see if they have time to make up their lost ground. I don't know why SVG went back on the track. He had no chance of finishing anywhere but last with the no DNFs. Chase Elliott hasn't locked this thing up yet, but it is looking solid. He's been the only car able to run single file at front for more than 5 or 6 laps. As Chase Briscoe and Tyler Reddick, though, trying to get by him. You see that second pack back there, and they're going to try as hard as humanly possible to get up there. Right now, it's Chase Elliott's race to lose, but Tyler Reddick has been one of the top cars most of the race. Chase Briscoe, one of our drivers to watch for. He's in the top 3. Joey Logano's a new name. Bowman's been running well. Buescher's been running well. As you see, that back pack is just completely lost behind Shane Van Gisbergen. Now 4 laps to go. Chase Elliott has one of the largest gaps a leader has had this entire day at about 0.2 of a second. Reddick needs to get single file with Briscoe. This is slowing them down. They have a little run on Chase this time. About half a car length between Elliott and Reddick. They're now 3 wide back there. It now looks more like a 2-man race. But more cars from that backpack have gained on them. Single file is fast. It's now down to like a 10-man race. Elliott has the lead. Reddick cut it down to under a 1/10 of a second that time, though. Or roughly a 1/10 of a second. Now the top 3 are single file. If Reddick or Briscoe is going to make a move here with 2 3/4 laps to go, they're going to have to go single file, and they're both going to have to pick the lane. Reddick's going to follow along behind Elliott. Bowman makes a move to the inside. Here comes Tyler Reddick. It'll be 2 laps to go this time by. Does anyone have enough in the tank to get around Chase Elliott? Chris Buescher pulls down pit road. Buescher must be low on fuel. Ty Gibbs is, or that's JJ Gibbs. Don't join. And that was a close one. He almost rejoined in front of the track. A lap and a half to go once they hit the back straightaway. Does Tyler Reddick have enough to get around Chase Elliott? Right now, it doesn't look like he does. More cars coming off the pits. These must be scheduled stops for guys that didn't think they have a chance. Corey LaJoie is hugging the bottom right now. Reddick is on Elliott's bumper. They're going to catch a 1-lap car. They're going to catch Corey LaJoie. Reddick's on his bumper. White flag is in the air. Does anyone have a shot at Chase Elliott? Reddick gets a little bit caught up behind LaJoie, and Elliott's in trouble. LaJoie's upside down. LaJoie's on his roof, and he's still barrel rolling. What has happened here at Daytona? And Reddick rejoins in front of the pack. The big one strikes after they take the white flag, but Chase Elliott was caught up in the wreck, so we'll see who this gives the win to. I think it might be Alex Bowman. What has happened at Daytona? We're going to see who they give the win to. And then we'll go watch the replay, but Chase Elliott was caught up in that. LaJoie just moved up a tiny bit, and he was on his roof in a very severe accident. But I think Alex Bowman wins the race. And he does. Alex Bowman steals one at Daytona over Joey Logano, Chase Elliott, and Daniel Hemrick. What the heck has just happened? It was Chase Elliott and Tyler Reddick's race to lose, and Tyler Reddick's name is nowhere to be found on the leaderboard. We have a lot to unpack here at Daytona. LaJoie went on his roof, and I don't know how long he was upside down for, but it was a significant amount of time. Does land on his wheels. That's the good part. The big one strikes at Daytona on the last lap of the day. Truex is stuck on the apron. We will have Corey LaJoie on board for you in a second. Oh, there's more hits there. I didn't see those. Gregson into the wall. We'll go on board first with Reddick, or with Kyle Busch. He was right in the thick of this. We'll go on board with Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, Truex, Reddick, and LaJoie, and then we'll send us off. Here's Kyle Busch. Scary view of LaJoie's flip. Now we'll get Truex and Reddick, and then LaJoie, and then Elliott, and then we'll send him. Here's Truex. He was caught on the apron. We'll give you Reddick's on board, Chase Elliott's on board, and then the one you all want to see, Corey LaJoie. So a very eventful day at Daytona. 2 cautions, 30 laps, and Alex Bowman takes home Hendrick's Daytona 500 win. They've been wanting for so many years in the last couple of years. And now we'll give you Chase's, and then we'll give you LaJoie's. This was Chase Elliott's race to lose.